technology. So let me just show you a small tool, like a tool example of how you can utilize AIs, processes in a framework, add some context to that, and really save some time. So I remember I was telling you before that we had Mackenzie come in and they did this really great, it was super amazing presentation. They did a ton of voice of customer research. They talked to a whole bunch of customers. It cost us 20 grand for the first one. We actually did two more of those with them as well. And we were really trying to get information about our core target customer. So this framework, this core customer psychology framework about understanding our core customer, this is the tool that we're actually going to work through today. So what is that? The tool is going to help guide you into identifying the different triggers or psychological triggers for your customers. And why is that important, right? Because you want to be able to figure out what's the best way to appeal to them and what is the easiest way to sell to them, right? To sell to their role or to them in the organization. So what problem is this tool solving? Because remember, we say, like, we're not just doing tools for tool's sake. What are we doing to make something better, faster, and cheaper? What problem are we solving? This tool specifically addresses the need for a deeper psychological connection with your target customers. And why, right? Well, it can help you have a strategic advantage when you're trying to craft these pervasive, super resonating marketing messages, right? Sales letters, all of those things, sales pages, landing pages. And it helps us uncover, like, what are their dreams, what are their fears, what are their suspicions, and what are the challenges that they're facing. Being able to do that allows us to have a customer-centric approach, but it doesn't just enhance the effectiveness of communication, it actually helps us with our product development, our strategic planning, because we really understand who our customer is. Now, again, I said before, it took 20K, right? And 3 days with all 5 of the highest level leaders in the organization to sit and get all this data and digest it. And in the end, we ended up deciding to do it 2 more times because we didn't get an output from it. So the next thing I would say is, what's the first element, right? The first element is the dreams of the customer. So again, all of this stuff is all going to be happening in this tool I'm going to show you soon. So what are the dreams of your core customer's psychological profile? Well, this is really looking to focus on identifying and understanding what are their desires, what are the outcomes that your target customer is looking for in relation to your product or service. So for example, we made synchronized clocks, but we make synchronized clocks specifically for the healthcare sector. One of the things that they needed that for was actually time of death. But when we made synchronized clocks out of the high school education market, they needed synchronized clocks so they could get kids to school on time, right? So they can have the gym clock actually synced up with the clock in the front office. Definitely different values and higher values and lower values based on the target market that they were in. So it's really getting into the deeper motivations and envisioning the ideal scenario for when you're interacting them with your offering. So you really want to align with their growth goals or personal professional goals. Second element of this psychological profile was identifying the failures of that core customer profile. So like, what are their past disappointments, setbacks? What are some unsuccessful attempts that you've made before or that others have made for your target customer or that they've experienced when trying to solve this problem for your product? Now, for example, in our target customer, there had been a number of failures with synchronized clocks within the hospital system because the clocks weren't synchronized and they would have trouble getting through, like, say, the MRI room, right? If that specific room has different, it's a different room, it's built with shielding, right? There's concrete and we couldn't, then there's signals that don't always get in there and those clocks weren't staying synchronized. So these failures, right, for that customer was crucial. And we needed to understand that so we could shape a better customer experience. We could avoid the skepticism right away. We could overcome the objections right away. You kind of move from there into the fear element of that profile. So it talks about the anxieties or worries or apprehension of your target market. One of the ones that we'd actually heard a lot about when we were, again, selling these synchronized clocks, where there was a fear around what if one of the clocks falls out of that network? What about the maintenance and care of those clocks? How do we solve for all those fears? Well, we didn't really know a lot of that until we went out and had that market research all done. And so if we didn't understand the risk, that we didn't know the objections, we weren't able to overcome or handle those objections. Suspicion's very similar, right? What it really centers on understanding the doubts or the skepticisms or reservations that they might have about the product or service, reservations they might have about any claims that we're making. And again, knowing how to overcome these is really going to be helpful. And then there's like one of these, I forget who it is. Maybe it's let's see, it's Bill Gates or someone like that that said, like, one of the ways to, get people together is to help them throw stones at the same enemies. So like enemy is an element of that profile, right? You either have to have people help you like each other, or you have to all hate the same people. So it identifies things like competitive forces, internal mindset obstacles, things like that that you would want to be able to overcome for your target customers, or even competition. Like, who is your competition in the marketplace? Maybe that's what analysis I was talking about earlier. So that was a lot, right? It took me longer to explain all that to you guys than it's going to be for me to show you this tool. So let's go over here. This is the core customer psychology tool. I'm just going to hit, it's a GPT, right? I'm going to hit let's get started. And then it's going to give us, hopefully, as I'm going through here, some instructions, right? So let's see. It's going to say, hi, I'm your psychology expert. To get started, tell me about the role you're selling to and the product you're trying to purchase. So I'm going to say, I sell AI enablement training to coaches. See what it says, right? We're not trying to be fancy here. We're just trying to figure out how to demonstrate this for everybody. Okay. Now if I send that message, we'll see what it says. So I will note that it is peak hours for ChatGPT, and I also have it on Zoom. So sometimes when you have things open with Zoom, it can take a little longer. But remember, I told you $20,000 in a couple of months. Look at this already. So let's dive into the profile. Coaches considering purchasing my training. I mean, think about it. How does this resonate with you, right? The outcomes for my customers, they're most likely seeking empowerment through technology, dream of harnessing the latest technologies, enhance their coaching methods. They want a competitive edge, aspire to stand out in the crowd of the coaching market, right? Let's go down to failures. Worried about tech. I have to tell you, because I'm a technical person who's also a coach, which is not always as something you see a lot of. Absolutely, right? A lot of the coaches that I know are like, I don't want to do any of the tech, Jackie, just do that stuff for me. Maybe things they're fearful of, like complexity, usability, suspicions, right? They're worried about hidden costs, or is there really a one size fits all? What are some obstacles? What are some enemies? Maybe the market's already saturated with coaching tools. The market's already saturated. Technology is so hard. I mean, like all of that just happened, right? And if I wanted to, I could update and actually, would you like to provide any feedback or adjustment to this profile? Let's say adjust for business. I can't spell, right? I can't spell, but adjust for business coaches only. Let's see if it gives us something different. Now, this would have been another $20,000 event, right? If we were going to go out and have another survey done. And in this case, if we're just talking about business coaches, strategic advantage, client business growth, leadership influence, past failures, tech failures, ineffective analytics, right? So it's already in one sentence going through and giving us a better answer. So I'm going to let that run. I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch all that. Not that you had to do any of those things, but I think if you learned anything from today, I hope what you learned is if you're able to go back to the slide, find a framework that exists, right? Find a great business book, find a great framework that's already out there, find a great process your company is already doing, add the context and the data over that, make sure you're solving a real problem, and you can take some of the human out of it. And as soon as we take human out, we take a little bit of the cost out. Hopefully you found this supportive. What I'd love for you to do is if you'd like access to this tool for a week, which is what we normally do to see if you like it, just put customer in the response and I will be thrilled to give that to you as soon as you're ready. All right, everyone, thanks so much for your time today. Look forward to seeing you again soon and have a wonderful day. Bye.